Hi, everyone, and welcome to Inside Bristol. I'm your host, Sheridan Nichols. Well, starting out the show today, I am meeting with Heather Carbajal, and she is going to talk about the American Red Cross and how we impact our community. Tell us some things that go on here in the Bristol area.
Yeah, sure. So it is Red Cross Month. And, as an organization, we have 5 main lines of service. We provide 40% of the nation's blood. We support military members, veterans, and their families. We support international initiatives like clean water, vaccine, and international crisis when requested. We train about 6 million people a year. So everything from first aid CPR to even babysitters training and swim lessons. And then lastly, we help to respond to disasters. So everything from your single family house fire to your large scale disasters, and educating the community to get ready for local responses.
If we wanted to get involved, how can we help?
So there are a lot of ways to get involved right now. I'm so glad you asked. The biggest need is to volunteer your time. We have all sorts of opportunities with the Red Cross. I think that there is something for every single person, whether you've got 10 hours a week or 2 hours a month to give. If you want to educate youth, we have opportunities for that. If you want to support local fire responses, support military members, there is something for every single person. And to do that, you just go to our website. It is redcross.org. Click on volunteer. It's going to run you through about a 5-step application process. Or if you're not sure that you want to take the plunge, but you want to talk more about it, figure out what might be a good fit, you can always call our chapter office. And that number is 423-765-4222.
That's great. So tell us some things and what you're doing right now in the community.
Yeah, so right now we have been really busy with local home fire responses.
Okay.
We've seen a huge increase in our fires, unfortunately, in the Northeast Tennessee area. Since January 1st, we have had 105 house fires that the Red Cross has responded to.
Wow.
And so that can be anything from an electrical fire or a kitchen fire, cooking, things like that. So we're trying to not only grow our presence in terms of volunteers, making sure that we're ready, because the Red Cross responds immediately after a house fire. A lot of people don't know that. We get there within 2 hours, a lot of times while the fire department is still there. And so we're helping with people's immediate needs. So that's making sure they have somewhere safe to go, making sure they have a blanket, the kids have a stuffed animal, a teddy bear, helping with any sort of medicines or medical equipment needs. We replace a lot of glasses, for example. We also provide crisis counseling and spiritual care for people who've experienced a house fire. So as you can imagine, that takes a lot of people.
Yeah.
So if you were, let's say, maybe are a social worker who is looking for something to do or looking to retire and want to figure out how to spend your time, our disaster mental health is a fantastic way to do that. If maybe going on a 24-hour cycle and that response isn't your calling or you don't have time, we need help to install smoke alarms in the community. We provide free 10-year alarms for anyone who requests them. There are no income constraints or anything like that. We just ask that you allow us to come into your home and physically install those alarms, and that you spend about 10 minutes with us creating your family's safety education plan.
And you know so much. How long have you been with the Red Cross?
I've been with the Red Cross as a staff member for 6 years and was a volunteer before that.
Oh my goodness. So no wonder. I feel like you've just got all this information. You could you could probably fill up the whole show and tell us all about. There's just so much.
There
I think
really
there
is.
Isn't one, it just covers everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that right now, really for us, our priorities are, again, the fire education. So if you're not interested in volunteering, I would ask that you take a look at your smoke alarms. Smoke alarms should be replaced every 10 years. I did not know that before I started working for the Red Cross. People say, well, I check them and they work fine, but you're checking your battery. Yeah. You're not checking the actual indicator to see if it will detect smoke. Yeah. And after 10 years, those indicators start to go out. So we'll come in and replace them for free. Wow. If you've got one, but you really need 4, we can come in and give you the alarms that you need. We assess your home to figure out where you need the alarms. We also, again, work on that safety planning. So, if the last time that you really practiced your fire escape plan was when you first moved into your home 30 years ago, life probably looks a lot different now.
Yeah, these are good tips because you forget. And as we all know, time kind of just keeps moving and flies by. And then
absolutely,
you're like, oh, I haven't done that.
Yeah, well, and in the average house fire, you have 2 minutes to get out safely.
Yeah.
And 2 minutes can feel like a lot of time, but it goes so quick, especially if you don't have those working smoke alarms to let you know what's going on immediately.
This is great. Well, thank you so much. What am I missing? Probably a lot because there's just a lot of things, but anything else that you really want to add in today's program?
The other thing that I would say is that we do a lot of work to support military members, veterans and their families. And right now there's a need for people who are interested in educating our youth. So every year our services, the Armed Forces team has a cause. And this year our cause is educating people on how children can receive an education in crisis and the challenges that come from that. I think it's a very relevant topic considering everything that's happening in the world right now. Mm-hmm. So we're looking for people who have time and have a passion for youth and want to help talk them through that. And it may be working with local schools or churches or civic groups, really anywhere in the area. But also we're looking for mental health professionals who can lead what we call resiliency workshops. These are for military members who are deploying or coming home from a deployment, as well as our veteran groups. So talking about not only resiliency, but stress and coping. It's a huge issue right now that I think we need to be more aware of and we need to be talking about more.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for adding all of that. And of course, I am sure your phone's going to be ringing now because there really is something for everybody.
There really is. And if I can make one more
Absolutely.
pitch, we also deploy. People don't know that we deploy for disasters. I hear a lot of people say, oh, if I could afford to go, I would love that. But cost should never be a barrier for volunteering with the Red Cross. So if you come in and let's say you are a teacher who has summers off, right? Or you're a student who has those breaks. We're actively recruiting and training right now because we know hurricane season is right around the corner. When we have a large-scale disaster, we activate our network, which means that another state will call and say, hey, we really need some support. We're opening 30 evacuation shelters and we need to help staff those. So then we will reach into our network and say, okay, well, who do we have that is trained and ready to go? So we do all of that in advance. We do ask for a 2-week time commitment, which is a little longer, right? But we cover the cost of the entire experience.
Wow,
so,
that's great.
Now, you may not be staying in a Marriott, you may be staying in a staff shelter, but it's an incredible experience and an incredible way to come and serve your nation, your neighbors across the country in times of crisis.
I love that. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing all of this. And don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to Inside Bristol. I'm your host, Sheridan Nichols, and I've got Autumn Rowe with me today from Bristol City Schools, and she's going to tell us all about this really cool art festival. And she even brought some artwork, which we can look at too. So tell me about this festival.
So it's the Virginia Deaf Festival, and it is going to be at Fairmount Elementary School on March 24th from 5:30 to 7:30. And so the Tennessee High School, their jazz band will be coming and their choir. And then Tennessee Middle School, their choir and band will be there as well. And we'll have a ton of artwork displayed. The high school art classes will have artwork there, and even the elementary schools. So in the elementary schools, we have a glow-in-the-dark gallery that some of our artwork will be up. And lots of preschool through 5th grade, they'll all have something up there.
So how does this work? Like any elementary, pretty much K through 12 can display their artwork?
Yes, so we've tried to pick some of our best artworks from each school. So we have about 30 to 50 pieces per school that'll be displayed. And it's students who are really passionate about artwork or have something that they really want to communicate is usually who we pick to be out there.
That's great. And then how is it set up in the school? That's a lot of artwork.
Yes. So we usually have this at Viking Hall, but this year we've changed it to Fairmount Elementary School. So in the cafeteria at Fairmount, we will have some choirs and some bands that they'll rotate. And then in the gym as well, they'll have the jazz band and the choir will rotate every now and then. And then we'll have the artwork. We're going to make a gallery space in the hallway. And so the Tennessee High artwork will be on tables. They'll have all kinds of sculptures and things like that. And then we will have a little special glow-in-the-dark gallery in the back, and the rest of the artwork will be hung on the wall.
Now, does this cost anything to get into?
No, it's free for the community to come. We just want to be able to show what our kiddos are doing in the school system, and be able to kind of explain how art and music work together and how it's beneficial for our students.
That's great, and a nice way to kind of pay tribute to them and their hard work and their thought process. And
yes,
I'm sure families, especially of the artists, will be really excited to go through.
Yeah,
and the fact that it's such a variety and age range too is really neat.
Yeah,
it's a great concept.
And you can see the progression of how where artists start from to where they're going to end, and how much they grow too. It's really cool to see.
And I know you brought a couple things here today, so you want to just talk about them?
Yes, I can. These are some of my students at Anderson Elementary School. So, and I've said the glow in the dark gallery several times. So this is one of those pieces. And then we do lots of printmaking. So the students make a stamp, and then we'll run it through a printing press.
Oh,
so that's what some of this is.
Okay.
And we also do a lot of art therapy in our district. So we have students who have something that they need to say, so they express it through artwork. And this kiddo wrote, Texas was Mexico, border crossed. So her family is from Mexico, and she's really, really proud of that. So she just wanted to display that here. So, and there's just lots of really cool things that our students make. We have more printmaking here, and then more glow-in-the-dark gallery stuff too. So
that's neat. I love the glow-in-the-dark idea. That's a lot of fun and very different.
Yeah, and they love seeing their artwork in a different way than what they're used to.
So definitely mark your calendars for March 24th, and it's doors open at 5:30.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect, and there'll be lots of neat things to look at.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today, and we'll be back in just a moment. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Inside Bristol. I'm your host, Sheridan Nichols, and I have Austin Simpson with me today from the fire department. And we're just going to kind of go over some spring safety tips to keep your home safe. What are some of those suggestions that the fire department provides?
Well, first and foremost, with it being springtime, we've experienced time change already, so hopefully everybody has already changed the batteries in their smoke detectors. It is important to remember that some of those have a 10-year life on them. Even though that is the case, they still need to be inspected and tested, and we need to make sure those are working.
I know I get this question a lot, but how many smoke detectors should you have in your home?
Depends on the size of the home.
Okay.
We recommend one in every bedroom, one on every floor of the house. We also recommend carbon monoxide detectors, specifically for homes that have inside garages, attached garages, and homes that have natural gas or propane.
So if you haven't done that, after you're watching this, run and get some batteries and get to it.
That's right.
And what else? What else can we do?
So springtime is a big time for people to get outside. One of the things we recommend is having a go bag with some water, with your medication, things like that you may need while you're away from the house. With the weather changing, we also want to remind people of environmental hazards such as bees for bee stings, snakes, snake bites, things like that.
Okay, yeah, that's not even on my radar of things to think about, with the fire department, but I should imagine you get a lot of those calls.
We do. We have a lot of people with allergies to bee stings. Snake bites are not very prominent, but they do happen.
Yeah, and then definitely getting dehydrated, like working out, trying to clean the garden and landscaping, and you just kind of lose track of time and you forget about that.
Yep, absolutely. Temperature tends to increase in the springtime. We're not used to that coming out of winter, so definitely need to stay hydrated.
And I know everybody thinks of spring cleaning. What are some things we could do like in our house, spring cleaning wise, that would really help in terms of keeping it safe?
So dryer vents are a big thing. We do catch a lot of dryer fires. Make sure that you clean the vent inside the dryer itself and the vent leading to the outside of the house through the wall. Make sure that you run a snake through those and get all that lint out.
And if you're struggling with that, what's great is we all have YouTube, and that's like one of those things you can Google, how do I do this?
Absolutely.
Anything else that we're missing that you want to add about just springtime safety?
I do want to touch on the weather a little bit.
Okay.
We do have some inclement weather in the springtime. That's just part of living in East Tennessee. Be prepared for anything that may happen, to include power outages. Make sure that you have candles at your house for light. Make sure that you have an alternate heat source that is safe. Make sure that you have a supply of food and water to get you through until power can come back on.
Great. Thank you so much for being on today and for all of those tips. And don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Inside Bristol. I'm your host, Sheridan Nichols, and ending the show today, we've got Beth Carter with Parks and Recreation, and we've got the Easter Bunny. That's so exciting. So we've got a great photo op here. Tell us about it.
So for Easter this year, we wanted to start doing some pet pictures. So we are kicking it off with our little Easter Bunny here. It's going to be at the Downtown Center on April 16th. We're going to do it from 1 to 3, and the pictures are all free. You don't have to pay for anything. They'll be provided there when the picture gets taken. But we just wanted to celebrate Easter weekend a little bit and celebrate our adorable pets that we all know and love. So yeah, we'll be out there, like I said, from 1 to 3, and bring out your dogs, bring out your cats if you want to, whatever we'll make it work, because
maybe
our
leave,
bunny will
maybe
be happy
leave
to
the
do
tiger at home.
Yeah, well,
But
if it happens to attack our bunny,
we
we'll
don't want that. And I'm sure these always make for such great photos for pet parents. So it's such a nice idea.
Yeah, so we're hoping that if this one goes well, that we'll start doing it for more holidays, and who knows, we'll make up some holidays, and maybe we'll bring our Easter Bunny back for a different holiday. Just dress them different.
Yeah, and what about like some props and things? I know that's like the big thing now, right? We have all these little photo props.
Yeah, we'll have a backdrop out there, and we're going to try to get some props out there, because everybody loves to dress up their pets, but feel free to bring your own props, bring your own decorations. I know your pets love to get dressed in their little Easter outfits, so go ahead and do that, because we'll be happy to take them all.
Oh, that'll be so fun. And what about the photographer?
So that's Dan Grogan with Twin City Photography, and he'll be out there the whole time with us. So we're excited to have him out there with us.
And what are the hours that you can come by and do this?
Yep, we'll be set up from 1 to 3. That way that gives plenty of people time to maybe come downtown and have some lunch and then bring their pets on over. So we're excited for it.
That'll be excited. And Easter Bunny, are you ready for this too? Thumbs up.
Pause up.
Pause up. There we go. Oh, Beth, thank you so much for coming on today. And I'm sure it'll be super successful.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
And thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.